We are going to begin. Thank you for your patience. Today we are meeting for our PTSA meeting today. It is about financial literacy for the family. And this is another topic that it affects all of us, and there are many resources that we have in the Virgin Islands, or in St. Thomas specifically, that we have available for us. And today we'd like to bring those to you to be able to share some of the information that we have that can help you, one, tonight, either save more money for college for your children, and then there's also the ability to grow your finances. And then for many of us that want to purchase a home or invest in additional real estate, we have someone that is going to talk with us today about how to get a loan and where to find the money. Okay? And so, would like to start, one of the things that I like to ask going into our meeting is, given our theme, we are winning, is there anything that has come up in the last couple months, the last week, couple days, that you have experienced where you feel like your son or daughter is not winning, or something that you need that could put them in a position to win? Anything come to mind? And if it doesn't come to mind right now, I just put that question out there so that throughout the evening, if something does come to mind, please feel free to share, let us know, we can have a discussion and see how we can help, okay? And then we're also, we have, next up is Miss Principal Petty. She is we're gonna invite her up, and she will enlighten us in anything that's going on school-wise. Miss Petty?
Yes, good evening again.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here as usual. Just a few updates. We're in April, but I'm officially in May, so we're winding down the school year. It's been a little rough here and there, like everyone else on the island, between the lights, the water, yesterday with the incoming weather. But at Idora-Ken, we keep your children in school. They're safer in school, and we need to be educated. We currently had 3 classrooms upstairs that received flooding, others that had minor little water drips here and there. The maintenance guys were here on campus. They're renovating the restrooms upstairs, so they're working on that as well. We had a little leak in that this morning. The contractors were quickly on campus to take care of that. The rest of the buildings and the maintenance that we taking care during the summer, I've already met with the Bureau of School Construction and Maintenance, and they will assist us with that. Some of your students might have told you about bathroom cleanliness. We have a custodian that's currently out. She broke her arm, and there's a shortage of custodians that I've mentioned from prior meetings. So we juggle, and we're working to make sure that the campus remain clean, safe, and healthy for our happy campers as well as the adults that's on campus. Graduation is upon us. But before we get there, we had a lot of activities. I'm seeing Cadet Van Holten, JROTC last weekend. We were in the competition. We came in 3rd. They were outstanding at that competition. The chess club that came back from with Mr. Reimer, they did well off island and received good accolades in their performance in the competition with the games. The track team traveled to Puerto Rico, to Carifta Games they participated, and we had many winners in different areas. Overall, when they traveled to Puerto Rico, they had 2nd place overall, which is kudos to the track team. Mr. Stapleton is back being one of the track members, so kudos to Mr. Stapleton. The girls basketball team, they're the champs overall for the island. The males came in 2nd place. We're still in soccer season, that's still going on. Baseball, I'm not sure if they finished wrapping up. I think they had 1 or 2 other games to continue on with baseball. But we're doing well in the athletics. We also had the band in several performances, and on Thursday we have our annual spring concert. So all is invited downstairs, $10 for adults, $5 for children. Begins at 5:59 right downstairs in the cafeteria. Tomorrow we have the induction for our Science National Honor Society. We have 10th grade awards. We had a FBLA induction as well. We had a National Honor Society induction last week. So it's been a busy set of weeks that's taken place. On Saturday, we have 15 students and 2 adults that will be traveling to Close Up, Washington. They go for 8 days to Washington, D.C., and then they travel to New York, and then they venture back home. So it's a lot that we have the children engaged in, and we're glad of that. Earlier today, GROTC had an inspection. The inspector came from South Carolina Atlanta / Alabama, and they did outstanding. They will receive a perfect score of 100. Wow. They maintain, I'm not going to see you wearing your star, you have on the gold star. They maintain the gold star for being exemplary, and we maintain it again this year. So it was excellent receiving that news today in GROTC. So kudos to the 4 instructors we have upstairs, and definitely of the students, because they did all of the presentations and performances to be graded on. I mentioned with the graduation, so we have prom, we have baccalaureate service, and then we go into graduation. If you have a senior, you need to stay on Teams, stay in your email, because Ms. Smith is sending out a lot of information. Next week they will have senior days, they have different activities. This week they have junior days, Ms. Sanders Arnold, they kick off tomorrow. She has sent out information. Day 2 will be doing different activities. They have a brunch, I think, yes, tomorrow is their brunch. And then they have other events that will be taking place on Friday, and I'm getting ready to wrap up and take questions. On Friday, we have our annual little mini cultural fair that will take place, different than what we did for Black History / Virgin Islands History Month. We have some vendors on campus. We have local and cultural games, some displays, music, food. So if you're in the area, anywhere between the 12 to 1:30, you can stop by, see the children, participate. Maybe you can do some hopscotch or hula hoop or musical chairs.
And what time is that again?
12 to 1:30. 12 to 1:30.
Is that in the?
Right outside. by
Is
the
it this
bullshit.
Friday, Ms.
Outside.
Becky?
Say again?
Is it this Friday?
This Friday, 17th. This Friday. Yes. Any questions or concerns for me? Okay.
Well, just one question. I know that
Sure.
you mentioned, because we were, the communication, I mentioned Power School. And by chance, has anybody gotten from the Department of Education come back to you to explain what is needed to be able to like utilize that?
No, not as yet. I will follow up with the tech person and to see exactly how we can do that blast. We used to have that capability. And then sometimes it goes with funding, but I'm gonna verify as to how they can give us access to do that blast instead of us having to go to them. So I will have an answer for you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you. And there was actually, that reminds me, Department of Education had the parent retreat. And I wasn't sure how that was gonna go on a Saturday, but it was actually very good. The Commissioner of Education was there, and then all of her key people were also there. And they asked, what was our problem? And I feel like I'm the perfect person to ask that to, because I gave them a list, and they were very receptive. Now, the second part is, are they gonna like continue following up? But they were very receptive. And so I just encourage everyone, the next time that you hear about a parent retreat, because they're gonna have this, at least, she said, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, where they're going to open it up, and it's gonna be limited to like 100, maybe 150 parents can go. But, because they rent out the ballroom at the West End, and it was very informative. So, I just encourage that, because you'll get a one-on-one if you do have an issue, which I'm encouraging it, because the block scheduling, the limited classes, the teacher, the shortage of the teachers, those are things that we address. So I'm encouraging everyone, next time you hear about it, and we'll put it in the parent chat, but please.
I think the retreat was also the same day as the GRDC. Yeah, different.
Yes, and I went to both.
For some parents who wanted to
Yeah.
attend.
It was, I had to leave a little earlier to be able to do it, but it was worth being there, because I was there for like 4 hours. It was worth it, and they heard what I had to say. So, after I said my piece, I didn't feel like I needed to be there, because they heard everything. And, but there were notes about it, so, yeah, so that's just a footnote. So, but we wanna jump right into, our first speaker for the evening. And that is a fellow parent. She is a banker, Miss Udine Vidal. And she's gonna speak to us about smart college budgeting for parents and money strategies for kids. So.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
My information is a presentation, but I am used to doing it, so we just speak out, share the information with you, because I am, well, not only you, but as a parent, the information is useful for me as well. And, thank you for being here this afternoon. As we all know, college is expensive. College is expensive, and one of the ways we can see our way through is having our children engaged in jobs while they are at school. I think from age 16, they can be employed. Department of Education, you can tap into them for, not Department of Education, Department of Labor. They do have summer programs which the children can enroll into and earn some monies and not spend all the monies, but save some of it. It is also very important for parents to sit with their children, and the family sit together to discuss what they can and cannot do. Now, it's not that you cannot afford, but you are getting to that place now where college is necessary, and you will want to create a budget. You know, our young people, they like dressing up, having their nails done, having their hair done. Some of those items we can cut off in order to create our affordable college budgets. So we have to be very honest and frank with our children in terms of even to what we eat. We can eat out less. Some of us eat out probably 3 times a week, or you know, our young children, they prefer McDonald's and those fast food opposed to home cooked food. So we can cook at home more, spend less money on food. That helps us with saving up for college. And yeah, as it relates to the part-time job, they can also save up some money for college. Paying for college is a challenge. It doesn't mean you should allow yourself to fall into unnecessary debts. Students should never borrow more than the estimated first year salary for their graduation. So that goes for the students as well as the parents. So we should be mindful of our annual income and how much we are borrowing for our children's college, because we want to ensure that they complete their courses. We do not want to fall into debt, and at the end of, or pretty close to their graduation, we can't afford to send them to school anymore. So it is really very important that we manage the loans, the students' loans that we get into. We have also tax credits I don't know if any of you heard of educational tax credits, which is American Opportunity Tax Credit. I took a little opportunity to Google on that. We can offset up to 2,500 with eligible expenses a year from American Opportunity Tax Credits. And however, I mean, there are stipulations as always. Depends on your annual income. If a single parent, up to 59. If your annual income exceeds 59,000, you will be qualified. Married couples exceeding, I think, 114,000 will be qualified. However, if you're earning less than that, boys,
Yes,
in a
very
small
good.
place for you.
I know.
Yes, so there are stipulations, and there's also another
I have a
one I
question.
looked into.
You did?
Yes, there.
Okay, so you said that if you make 59,000 as a single
Annually.
household annually,
Mhm.
and then you get, is that the child credit that you typically get, or is this something in addition
College
to that?
credit. No,
It's a college credit
college credit, right?
for the tax purposes.
Tax credit for college.
Okay.
Yes, and
Is that when they're in college?
while they are in college.
Okay.
And you are qualified for that credit for up to 4 years of the students being in
Good to know.
college. And there's also a lifetime learning credit. I have some little papers that I printed where we can start working on colleges, the best college for our students while they are even in 10th grade opposed to waiting till they're in 12th grade. Yes, 59,000. Yeah, income can exceed 59,000. Let me see what else I have here. Students can also make goals to choose AP pre-college honor courses while they're in high school. And that also helps, because if your children are doing poorly in school, it is very, very important that we encourage our students while they are in high school that, the higher the credits are, the better opportunity, the less money we have to spend on college education. Yes, so they can enroll in AP classes as well. More credits, less prerequisite classes, less money to spend on colleges. And we can also apply for student scholarship, like I mentioned, as early as possible for our students. There are scholarships available within at our fingertips. It's just a matter of we tapping into the right places to get that information. And we can also look for colleges that offer high percentage of financial aid. That's another opportunity. That's really my presentation. I got 10 minutes. Any
Awesome.
questions for me?
I have a question. Do you know or did it say anything in your research, like, is there a max amount of credits that you can get while your child is in college for college credit?
No, I didn't have information.
I mean, for the tax credit,
For the tax credit,
2,500 is easy.
that's the max.
But the tax credit.
The tax credit, yeah, listen, when you
Oh,
said that,
when
I'm
you
like,
said
I'm looking
credit,
for
I
more.
thought you meant credits for college
No,
credits.
it's like
Okay,
for when you're filing the taxes.
okay.
I'm looking for
2,500,
Yeah.
And our students are not too young to start saving, like have their own accounts and start saving for college. So we should also encourage them as much as possible to have their own accounts, no ATM cards, start saving for college. Parents, monitor, manage. That helps us a lot. Any questions for me?
Yes, can you repeat what you said concerning you said something about look for colleges that gives a percentage of, missed it.
colleges, that offer higher financial aids.
Ah, yeah, financial aid. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. Is there anyone currently working on any scholarships, or like, has anyone found any scholarships for their children so far? Have you started that search? Well, I think what, I love that she's presented that, because it was some things that I hadn't thought about. But one of the things is, there's, three opportunities that I know of. Academic,
That is, I'm just sharing this with, not on behalf of the presentation, but as a parent, I'm just sharing this webpage.
Oh,
Or we can look into college for all.
and then also, if you could text that to me, I'll put it in the parent chat for everybody. But there's, while your children are in school, they have the opportunity for academic, music, and athletics. So you have 3 opportunities for your child to be able to also get those, to get scholarships from the schools. And the earlier that you encourage your children to make sure that they're keeping their grades up, get them involved in sports, whether it's track, get into something. And then band, that's the easiest way to get a scholarship, is starting in band. So you'll have something, get them, start them from 9th grade.
As a parent.
There will be a college that will get, and it's easier than athletic. So colleges are always looking for students that are musicians. So, but yeah, so thank you so much for that, Unique. And, okay, so we have addressed money for college, and now my second favorite thing to be able to talk about is money to buy real estate. So we are going to have Stephen Pruitt. He is the founder and president of Virgin Bay Mortgage. Actually, he has, his office is right here in Red Hook. I do a lot of business, well, the broker I work with, Seaglass, we know him by heart. So, but a lot of other agents do as well. So I'm gonna turn the floor over to Steve.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, thanks, Tanya. So my name's Steve Pruitt, founder of Virgin Bay Mortgage. We are right across the street in Red Hook. We are a lender and a servicer, and I'll talk about what that means. We're the only lender servicer with a local presence in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So, as a lender, what does that mean? It means that we lend our own money. We underwrite everything in-house. We make the decisions on your loan. And we control the entire process. We're not a broker. We don't sell out to other banks. Everything is done in-house. So we really can bring the experience to you, or you can come to our office, but we can control the entire experience. As a servicer, what that means is that when your loan is finished, we will be the one sending you your monthly statements, and we'll stay in contact with you for the next 30 years or the life of the loan. And so we don't take your loan and sell it off to other banks. We just focus solely on mortgages and mortgage lending. We're not going to cross-sell you other products and services. So that's what a mortgage lender does. We're different than a bank because we don't take deposits. We're a non-depository entity. And we're not a broker because we lend our own money. So that's kind of what we do. And what I thought I'd talk about today, and Tanya asked me to talk a little bit about, is preparing for the home buying experience, or making sure that you are ready to buy. We see a lot of our clients come and they want to hurry up and jump into a loan, but as we talk through their financial situation, we see that they're just not ready. So I wanted to maybe cover 3 things with you today that I want everyone to think about. Is anyone looking to buy a home in the next 6 months or a year? Anytime soon? Yes, we have one? Okay. A primary residence or your primary home or an investment? Primary, okay. So I wanna talk about those three things, what it takes to kind of be ready. And you can apply some of these things even in your financial planning as you try to obtain other debt or you try to obtain other financing, like with car financing. A lot of these principles apply. But the very first one I would want to talk about is credit. Okay, credit is the most important thing that you want to keep in front of you or understand when you're getting ready to make a major purchase. It could be a car, but I'll talk about it in the sense of a home. We see a lot of clients that either don't have credit or they have very bad credit. And so you can actually get a free copy of your credit report at mycreditreport.com. And so I encourage you to do that. Do that just every 6 months because you want to know if there's any blemishes or something pops up in your credit that's not yours. Today with identity fraud or identity theft, it is very important to stay on top of your credit. There's 3 credit bureaus that you want to reach out to, and a lot of times it's recommended that once you look at your credit and you understand what's on there, if you need to move forward and fix things, we can help you do that. But a lot of times people are freezing their credit, right? They go to their credit reporting agency and freeze it so that there aren't any unauthorized purchases or someone's not trying to steal their identity. So it's really important just to get a good understanding of your credit. It impacts interest rates, it impacts your ability to just purchase, right? If you don't have a credit score, most likely you're not going to get a loan, okay? So credit is really, really important. The difference between a 600 score and an 800 score, it's actually not hard to get. You just have to do a couple of things. Does anyone know what might be the most important thing about making sure you keep or maintain a good credit score?
On time, everything.
Make your payments on time.
Thank you, yes. Make your payments on time. That is the most important thing. Don't miss payments. I was at a home expo in St. Croix this past weekend, and someone did a really great job on presenting about credit and the importance of it. And I like one of the things he said was essentially, if you have missed payments, you are not ready to buy a home, right? And so I'm gonna take that one step further. If you have one missed payment over the last 12 months, it's already very difficult to get a mortgage. In some cases, you can't get a mortgage. But it really talks about the preparedness. If you're missing payments, if for whatever reason that might be, you're not really ready to make a major purchase. So we want to make sure that we right size your obligations compared to your income. Which leads me to number 2. So number 2 is debt and income. They work together, so I always bundle them together. Debt and income. In general, if you make $10,000, you cannot have more than $5,000 of debt. Monthly debts. So if you make $10,000 a month, your debt cannot go over $5,000. That's just a general rule. There are a lot of different loan programs out there. Everyone I say is beautifully unique, so that's why we sit down and we talk with you about, hey, what program might fit best. But in general, those are some of the guidelines. If you make $10,000, you can't have more than $5,000 of debt. The third one is assets, money. How much money can you bring to the table? It's great if you can bring 20% of the cost of the house that you want to buy to the table. But sometimes that's very difficult. And there are other loan programs that can help with that, right? We can get up to actually 100% financing for some loan programs. FHA is a famous loan program that you might hear about, and you can put down 3.5% of the house's value, and you can get a loan for the 97%, the remaining 96.5%. Now, when we talk about, when we look at those three things and we talk about, is it good to go in and get a loan for 100% of the house's value? In some cases, it might be yes, but in some cases it might be no. If you're not doing well in the first two, like if you don't have great credit and your debt to income is you're really pushing it, probably not a good idea to get 100% financing. Not that I want to prevent you from getting a house, but more than likely, you're going to have trouble making those payments. I mentioned earlier that we are a servicer. We service thousands of customers, and so we see this over and over again. When usually 2 of the 3 are pushing the limits, you could create a situation where you might not be able to afford the mortgage payment in the future. And so we really want to try to help you prepare for that purchase as opposed to just barely qualifying. And if you have that luxury to prepare and not just barely qualify, you have a much better chance of success in purchasing your house. Now, we absolutely will figure out a way to get the loan for you if you qualify, even if you're pushing all those limits. But in the spirit of being ready to buy, you really want to make sure that you understand your credit, where you are. You can get to a 700, 800 credit score. It is possible. It's not that hard if you just do a few things. Making sure you pay everything on time is the first. But there are other, let's say, tricks of the trade that you can improve your credit score. But we want to make sure you're doing that. We want to make sure that you have a comfortable debt to income ratio. You probably don't want to have a 50% ratio because if any little thing goes wrong, you might have trouble paying your bills. A lot of these things are built into the formulas to really make sure that we are helping borrowers stay in homes. Because when you get a loan, we want you to be able to afford to pay for that loan. We want you to be able to stay in that home, as opposed to just trying to sell a loan, right? That's not what we're here for. So with that said, is there any questions about credit, debt, income, and assets or money to put down? Any questions about home loan products or anything like that?
I have a question. You mentioned checking your credit score every 6 months. Does that affect your score in any way?
No, when you pull it yourself, it's a soft pull, so it won't affect your credit score.
Okay, and does your agency work with other agencies such as, I think what is the VI Slice program?
So yeah, we are a VI Slice participant. We do VI Slice loans. Right now, they're out of money, so they replenished it once for another $2 million, and I think that's run out. So at this point, there's no more funding. The VI Slice program was a gap financing program, and essentially what that meant is once we figured out what program you qualified for, whether it's FHA or a conventional type of loan, the difference of down payment that was needed for going towards the down payment of the home and the closing costs, that gap is what VI Slice stepped in and paid. So we were successful in helping a handful of families obtain that financing.
I understand you said that it is not wise to purchase a house 100% financing, but what if you know that you can afford those monthly payments and you don't want to deplete your little cushion that you have sitting there?
No, I don't mean that it's not wise. I'm just saying when you look at the whole picture, one of the things that we see is when you kind of push the limits on your credit, like if you have a really bad credit score and you have you're really pushing the debt to income and then you're going to do 100% financing, we want to sit down and make sure that you're really comfortable in being able to afford all of those things. But there are cases feel like if you have good controls, we're talking about being ready to buy. So you really want to try to get into the 700-800 credit score before maybe doing 100% financing. There are cases where you can't, and we'll still work on getting you that loan. I just like you to be ready because it will affect your interest rate, it will affect your payments, and it could, in some cases, you'll have mortgage insurance associated with your loan, which increases the cost of the loan. So when you work on making sure that you have good credit, it really helps bring the cost of obtaining a mortgage down. So as an example, if you have a 600 credit score versus an 800 credit score, the difference in rate can be up to 1.5% of interest rate.
So like if a house was $500,000 and somebody wanted to buy, and they came to you with a 600 versus somebody that has an 800 credit score, what would the monthly payment, just for very rough?
Like you would be $5,000, let's call it $4,000 a month versus $4,800 a month.
So if you had a 600 credit score, essentially you could be paying $4,800 versus an 800 credit score would be $4,000.
Right. So it does affect the payment a lot, a 1.5% difference. And every situation is different, but you will, it's a risk-based scoring profile that these agencies use. And if you have a lower credit score, if you have a missed payment on your credit, then they see you as a riskier borrower, so they're going to charge you higher interest rates. It seems counterintuitive because those are the kind of borrowers that we need to give lower rates to, but that's just the way that there was an adjustment a few years ago that the agencies like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and Ginnie Mae use, but in general, it's a risk-based scoring system. If you have a lower credit score, you are going to pay a higher interest rate.
I want to encourage anyone who is seeking to buy a home in the near future to participate in the VIHFA Home Buyer Preparation course. It's a few weeks of learning about information like this so that you can specifically prepare your own personal finances to be as ready as being recommended here.
One more question. The mortgages that you're financing, must the house be like 100% livable, or if they're minor construction, maybe you would still finance?
So we have programs that are non-conventional programs, so commercial type loans. But in general, the house needs to be habitable. It needs to be livable. If it needs some minor repairs, that's
Case by case.
that's okay. It's a case by case. It really depends on, at the end of the day, the appraisal, what the appraiser comes back. If anything is found on the house that is in need of critical repair, that makes it not habitable for some reason, a leaking roof could be one of those examples, then they will require those repairs to be finished first before you can get the loan.
Thank you.
Now there are some other, I call them non-agency, like the normal 30-year fixed mortgages that you hear about. There are other mortgages and other types of loans that are more commercial in nature. So when we deal a lot with people looking to buy investment properties, we're helping someone buy like an 8-unit property right now. That property is in need of repairs, but we're doing that through a commercial loan, and so obviously it doesn't need to check off all the boxes as a residential home loan would. The residential home loan, they want you to be able to live in that and habitate that property.
And do you do construction loans as well?
We don't do, we just started to do some new construction loans. We don't do land loans, but we're working with some contractors on starting to do some construction loans here on island.
So you've already got the land and building.
And building. more times. Yeah, the biggest challenge with when you think about doing mortgages, the biggest challenge is time. Because if you go to build a house, you want to have some assurance that my monthly payment is going to not exceed over, $10,000 at this interest rate, right? But when you're doing a construction loan on island, it is very difficult to meet those timelines and promise those rates for a long period of time. And so you run into some real challenges on making sure that you can lock the rate and promise the rate to the borrower. But yeah, we just started to do some of those kind of as a test. We're also licensed in 40 other states, so we do construction loans and work with a lot of builders stateside. So any other questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
So you feel comfortable a little bit more? So I encourage you, I will put Steve's information in the chat. Feel free to give his office a call. Every lender has strengths, but I have found that there's a couple lenders that have been very helpful. They take their time to explain everything to you, and that's what you need when you're making such a big purchase. You need somebody that is going to break it down to you. Very simple, not too technical, and to help get you there. And so that's why I had Steve come today, because they're very good about that. So if you are ready.
But to ask you a question,
Yeah.
what is your maximum term?
I'm sorry?
The maximum term.
30 years.
So we are going to go to our next speaker, and this is Steve Lowe. He is the president of the Estate Shield VI, and he also just won an award with the UVI RT Park.
Correct.
And I'm gonna let you explain that a little bit more in detail, but awesome work. So, he is going to talk about the estate planning for intentional parents and make it make sense with some dollars and cents. So, Steve, it's all you.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. All right, today I want to ask you a very serious question, and actually I want you to ask your partner, the person who's closest to you, and ask them this question. Get right into their business. Ask them, are you ready for life after death? Are you prepared for life after death?
Well, in the biblical pattern.
I go to heaven. Okay. Okay.
I didn't know you were gonna make us think like this.
Hello. So today we're going to talk about something that is often uncomfortable in our community, and that is the whole talk about how do we prepare for when we are no longer here. Does anyone here have a bank account? Yeah, raise your hand if you have a bank account. Keep your hands up if you have a piece of land or real estate. Right? Tell me if you have life insurance proceeds. What about a retirement account? A retirement account, like something like a 401k or a Roth IRA. We could talk about what those things are. Okay. Everyone here has a child, of course, right? No.
Or 2 or 3.
Or 2 or 3 or a couple, right? A bushel of kids. What that means is that everyone in this room is qualified for this conversation. A lot of times when we talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is estate planning, oftentimes we feel disqualified because I am not Oprah Winfrey. I am not Elon Musk. Therefore, me ain't got an estate. So what am I doing talking about estate planning? Right? Now, everyone here has something or someone to plan for. Agreed?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I am going to be talking to you today from the point of view of a person who had an outhouse. Anybody know what I'm talking about when I say outhouse?
Yes.
Huh? Tell me what outhouse is for the crowd. For the millennials that don't know what outhouse is, tell them what outhouse is.
Well, usually it's a pit with a little house on top.
Mhm.
There is no plumbing connected to it. It's just a pit.
Yes. And you can make it fancy. You could put a little wooden seat
Yeah.
on top of it, you know? But that was my situation at 16 years old. Okay? So don't mind the baby face and the nice clothes. That was my situation. Back in my house. Right? Anyone know what a potty is?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Yeah? A potty. Sometimes you call it in my
Yes, it's like a huge cup.
Yes, it looks like
Yes.
it looks like a gigantic cup, like about this big. It has a handle on the side. So what that is for, millennials and Gen Zers, that is for doing number one.
Yes.
You know why? And you put it underneath your bed. And the reason why you got it underneath there is because at night it's too dark. You don't want to go outside.
Outhouse.
So you use the potty until the next morning. Unless you're lazy like me and you didn't take it out until your mother come home in the evening and then it's all hell breaks loose. Don't judge me, okay? All right. Now, I tell you that because again, sometimes we start from very humble beginnings. But that does not mean that we shouldn't protect what we need to protect and who we love. Right? We are all qualified for this conversation. That's where I started. Several years later, I have multiple properties. All of them are protected in the ways that we're going to talk about today. And I want to share that with you so that you can better protect your loved ones as well as the things that you work hard for. Agree?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I know we're having a little bit of a. We good? All right, we're soon good. All right. Does anyone know what? Have anyone heard of an estate plan before? An estate plan, right? Okay. So what is an estate plan? An estate plan is a blueprint. Pure and simple. Anyone here has been involved in building a house at any point in time in their life? Okay. What do you use a blueprint for?
The plan?
It's a plan. It's a guide, right? It's a way to avoid wasting time and money and materials, right? Now, with an estate plan, it's a blueprint as well. But in this case, we want to make sure that we have a plan for what happens when we pass away so that unfortunate things that befall a lot of our families don't happen to your family. All right? Now, has anyone heard of probate? When you hear probate, what words come to your mind? Huh? Time, right? Stress, conflict, arguments. Very expensive, right? Because of the time involved. And loss. You see these properties that are across our territory that they're broken down, they're dilapidated. They got more rats in it than people, right? All of that, whether it's on Front Street, Back Street, 22, Christianstead, Frederickstead, all over our territory, we have these, I will call them carcasses in our community, right? And what those carcasses represent is a family. It sounds something like this. A family, let's say a civil servant, work hard in the government, put his 2 coins together, buy a piece of land. Over time, him and his friends, you know, one is a carpenter, the next one's a cabinet maker, the next one's a mason. The wives put some fungi together and some codfish, saltfish, right? And
You call it kudme.
we call it cook. In Barbados we call it cuckoo. Cuckoo and saltfish, right? Or flan fish, as we like to do it. Now, you do that a couple Saturdays a month, and now this house starts to form. Over the years now, the family gets bigger. We get more children and so on, and we gotta extend. So we do the same thing over again. As the kids get bigger, they say, Daddy, Miss Hodge down the road is in probate. The family is in turmoil. They look like they're gonna lose the house because nobody's paying the property taxes. All right? I don't want that to happen to us, so let's put some things down in writing so that we don't fall into that same problem. And what Daddy tell you? Are you trying to kill me? Am I wrong?
Oh, I only have 2 of you.
I only have 2 of you, so one should know what to do. I already told y'all what to do, so that's just what's gonna happen. But in the court of law, hearsay, he said, she said, has no weight whatsoever. So if it is not written, it is not real. It doesn't exist, correct? In the absence of a plan,
So
fighting and conflict occurs.
So they still have the plan and they fight it.
Well, that is a lot better than not having a plan at all, because at least you have something to go off of, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you don't have a plan, you could come across this topic of I deserve. So it sounds like this. I am the one who's taking care of Granny.
Yeah.
I'm taking her to Doctor's Choice when the day comes. I'm taking her to Juan Louis or to her appointments when necessary. I'm the one who's changing the bedpan or the potty or the pool when it's needed. All of my brothers and sisters are stateside, and they don't even ask how things get done. Right?
True.
Anything sound familiar? Am I telling a lie so far?
No, you're right on target.
Good. So, I deserve the house because of all that I'm putting in. But your heart is going to be broken because I deserve is not a legal term.
I know.
Right? If it isn't written, it isn't real. So I want to impress on each of you today, the things that we're going to talk about is how do you put your affairs in order in a way that keeps your family out of these problems of loss of control over your assets, squandering of the assets, the breakdown of your family because of arguments and confusion. All of these things happen because we have not planned, right? Okay. Now, I want you to write this down. There are 5 key elements to get your affairs in order. Right? The first one is a will. Right? Everyone here has a child that is a minor, right? Or maybe multiple children. If you have children that are minors and you do not have a will, you have a serious gap in your plan. Why? Because if something happens to mommy and daddy, who's going to take care of the child?
Human services.
Human services. She's not far off at all, you know. She's not wrong. The government is going to decide what's going to happen to your child. No. That is something. No, I'm glad you mentioned it, though. I'm glad you mentioned it because godparents is not a legal term either. That's just something that we do as a custom. It's not something that you can bank on, right? A judge is going to determine who is best suited for your child, and the judge don't know your family from Adam, but you know them perfectly. So you know who your child will be best suited, who will be best suited for taking care of your child, right? So you should take the control and put that in writing so that it isn't up to a judge. You see? All right. So if you don't have a will, you have a serious gap in your plan. If you have young kids, that's all of us. Now, a will is important, but it has a serious disadvantage. And that disadvantage is that a will requires the same probate that we hate. A will requires probate. In fact, probate, back in the day, stood for proving the will. Right? So probate is for 2 types of people. A person who is without a will and the person who is with a will. And that's something they don't teach us in school. Right? So we can't just rely on a will to avoid probate. And that's why sessions like this is so important, so that we can be educated, so that we can do better for our families. Right? Back in the day, when someone says, I want to go and get my affairs in order, they would go down to the lawyer's office and say, what? Can you give me your will? And the lawyer might not advise you that this will is going to require you to go in, your family to go into probate. They didn't tell us that. So we paid good money to get this will in place, and we still had to go around and pay the same lawyer to take us through probate. It's almost like it was a conspiracy to begin with. But that only occurred because we didn't have the knowledge to say, well, this might not be all that I need, right? Okay, but that ends tonight, all right? Agreed?
Right,
All right, good. The next one is called a trust. Anyone heard of that before? You've heard of trust fund babies, correct? Right? People that were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Right. But we want to create trust fund babies, am I right?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. All right? We want to use these tools like trust, and I'm going to explain it shortly, to protect what we have built and have our families avoid this probate process altogether. And that's what a trust does. A trust is like a legal vault. So imagine this ironclad vault that you put assets inside of it, and anything that goes into that vault avoids the probate process, so long as it's done properly. Right? So what families that are in the know do is that they create trust to help their families preserve their assets, get it to who they intended, and avoid this whole probate business altogether. All right? All right, good. The third aspect of the estate plan is called, before I go on from trust, why trusts are very important for us that have young kids is this. Everyone here has some form of life insurance. So let's say you have a $100,000 life insurance policy, and you have your child as the beneficiary on that policy. A lot of us have that, right? We put our children, because we want to protect our children, we put our children as the beneficiary. Two problems. A bank or financial institution is never going to give your child assets if they are underage. Okay? So which means you've created two problems for your child. What you intended to provide provision for your child is going to be withheld from them at the time when they need that provision the most. Right? The second problem is that they're going to get a boatload of money when they're 18 years old. How many of us could deal with $250,000 at 18?
I could deal with it.
Yeah, you could deal with it for sure. Right? Talk about in and out. That's what will happen. Right? Too much rope to hang yourself.
Yeah.
So what you can do with the trust is to say you make the trust the beneficiary of that life insurance policy, and then instruct the trust how to manage those funds for your child. And in fact, you can say when they get 18 and there's money left back, allow that money to be given out to my child over the course of time rather than all at once. All of this can be done intentionally with a trust, right? So when you start talking about trust and estate planning, you're no longer thinking about next Friday or the next Friday after next. You're thinking about the next generation and the next generation after next. Perfect. Wonderful. All right, what we're looking at here is
Oh, you could put it on slideshow. Yeah, so at the top it says slideshow. On your computer, you click on slideshow, or down at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, guys. Again, familiarized here with this.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. All right. So let me ask you this. Based on everything we talked about and what you know so far, which of these are you more worried about? In terms of the reasons, the costs, or the problems that happen when you die without a plan. What are you more worried about?
All the above.